Solving Equations, Part 3. In today's lesson, students will solve equations by adding a number to both sides using integers. Using what? Very good. So now that you've had some practice solving equations by subtracting a number from both sides, today what we're going to do is we're going to add a number to both sides. What are we going to do? Good. So remember, we're working with integers. And when we're working with integers and we know that we're adding integers, we can sing the integer song. And I wanted to go over the second half of the integer song. And that is when you have different signs, okay? So, again, we're adding integers today. So you can write when adding integers with different signs, okay, so remember, same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. That's right. So then you're going to subtract the numbers and you're going to keep the sign of the higher number, okay? Or the bigger number. And again, that number, you are just going to pretend that there are no signs next to it, okay? So again, let's just make sure you have this down, okay? All right. And you have to sing the song to yourself. I know we've sang it a million times. So you say, same signs add and keep, different signs. Keep the sign of the, then you'll be exact, right? Okay. So something we haven't really talked about before is really what's happening here when you have a positive 9 and you're adding in parentheses a negative 5. So parentheses mean multiply. They mean what? Multiply. So I want to just show you here that Bob's cousin says, look, if you have an addition sign and you multiply a subtraction sign, or if you have a positive times a negative, okay? A positive times a negative is negative. So you can say, well, positive times negative, just the signs, if you multiply them together, they give you negative. When you have different signs, right, it's negative. So a positive 9 plus a negative 5 is really saying 9 minus 5. And you know that this 9 is positive, okay? So that becomes very simple because you know that 9 take away 5 is what? What's 9 minus 5? It's 4. And because the bigger number is positive, right? 9 is positive, that would be positive 4. So that's just simple subtraction, okay? So let's try some problems with equations. All right, so read equation 1 with me. It says x minus 5 equals a negative 7. So here is how these are different. Now we are having an expression, okay, on this side that has a minus sign, right? It's been positive for the past few days, but now there's going to be a subtraction sign. But we're going to go ahead and solve it the same way. What's the first step? You make a T, right? We call this the T-bone steak. You make a T. All right. Now, what are we looking for? We're looking for what is x. So circle that, okay? We're trying to find out what number, if you subtract 5 from it, would give you negative 7. All right, so now we look at the number next to x. What is the opposite of negative 7? The opposite of negative 5. What's the opposite of negative 5? It is positive 5, right? So now we're going to add 5 to both sides. Okay? you must do the opposite. And whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. So now we're adding to both sides. Okay? You still have that negative 5 and positive 5. They make 0. They cancel one another out. You can bring down the x. And now we figure out what does x equal. So we're going to do the operations on this side. This says a negative 7 plus 5. Negative 7 plus 5. Do these signs have, are they the same or are they different? They're different, right? So because they're different signs, you're going to subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. What's the bigger number? The bigger number is 7 and it's negative. Is that right? So the answer is going to be negative. I'm going to subtract 7, take away 5. I'm going to say 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So x equals negative 2. What does x equal? Negative 2. All right, so now we're going to check our answer. We're going to say, all right, well, our original equation, okay, we got to write it down. The original one says, okay, that x minus 5 equals negative 7. So we're going to write x minus 5 equals negative 7. Then you're going to substitute a negative 2 in the place of x. So what is x? X is negative 2. So is negative 2 minus 5, does that equal negative 7? Does it? Remember, you have a negative 2 and a negative 5. Are they the same signs? Yes. So you say same signs, add and keep. So 2 plus 5 is 7. Keep the negative, negative 7. So put a check. Okay, very good. Okay, so read equation number 2 with me. It says x. What does it say? X minus 8 equals negative 2. Okay, so the first thing we make is a t to separate both sides of the equation. Leave some space. All right, so we're looking for what is x. Circle x, and then you ask yourself, okay, by looking at the number that is next to x, what is the opposite of this number? What's the opposite of negative 8? The opposite of negative 8 is positive 8, right? So you add 8 to both sides. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. All right. So now let's do the operations. A negative 8 and a positive 8 make 0. Bring down the x. Okay, so now x equals, make sure you put your equal on the fence or on the t. Okay, so now x equals, we have a negative 2 and a positive 8. Interesting. Negative 2 and positive 8. Well, are they different signs or same signs? Different signs, right? So you say different signs, subtract, keep the sign of the higher number, then you'll be exact. So I want you to look at this really. Look, positive 8 minus 2. If I switch their place and I put the positive 8 on the top and the negative 2 at the bottom, look what it says. It says positive 8 minus 2. Well, that's easy. That's just talking about 8 take away 2. Now, the bigger number is 8. It is positive, right? What is 8 take away 2? Say 8, 7, 6. So the answer is positive 6. All right? So now we're going to check our answer. What's the original equation? Remember, it's x minus 8 equals negative 2. So we say x minus 8 equals negative 2. Now we're going to go ahead and put this positive 6 right here. Now, is positive 6, if you start with 6 and you try and take away 8, okay, does that give you negative 2? Okay, positive 6 minus 8. Again, positive 6 minus 8 is like saying, they're different signs, right? They're different. So it's like saying 8 take away 6, but the bigger number is negative. It's 8. So the answer will be negative, and 8 minus 6 is 2. So that is correct. Okay, let's read our last example. It says x minus 6 equals negative 9. Okay, so we're going to separate the equation by making a t. We're looking for what number minus 6 equals negative 9. So circle x. Now look at the number that's next to x, okay? This number is negative 6. What is it? Negative 6. So you ask yourself, what's the opposite of negative 6? The opposite of negative 6 is positive 6. Add positive 6 on this side and on this side. Okay, so a negative 6 and a positive 6 make 0. They cancel each other out. That's what you're trying to do. Okay, trying to get the x by itself. He's a loner, so now x equals negative 9 plus 6. Are they different signs? Yes. Have you noticed that all these examples are going to be different signs? And you will always have to subtract. You're going to have to do what? Subtract. So this is 9 take away 6, but the bigger number, let's ask ourselves, what's the bigger number, 9 or 6? It's 9, right? And the sign next to 9 is negative. So the answer when you subtract would be negative. What is 9 take away 6? Say 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So the answer is negative 3. X equals negative 3. Now we're going to plug in this value. Okay, we're going to substitute it in the place of x in the original equation at the top, which was x minus 6 equals negative 9. All right? Okay, so substitute negative 3 in the place of x, put negative 3. Is negative 3 minus 6, does that equal negative 9? Okay? Do these numbers have the same sign, negative 3 and negative 6? Are they both negative? Right. So you know when you have same signs, add them, right? 3 plus 6 is, 3 plus 6 is, so add them, 3 plus 6. 3 plus 6 is 9 and keep the negative. So this is correct. Okay, go ahead and get that down.